Okay, Sister Norina, um, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you again, Brother Riyad, for this opportunity. I would like to start with a little reminder for all of us. It's a little quotation here. It says that anything that annoys us is teaching us patience. Anyone that abandons you is teaching you how to stand on your own feet. Anything that you cannot control is teaching you how to let go. Anything that angers you is teaching you forgiveness and compassion. Our behavior is influenced by the people we surround ourselves with. So we must gain a deeper understanding of life's meaning and the influence we have on those around us and their influence on our life. Is our way of living one that would satisfy Allah? Do we fear the questions that await us in the grave? Do we fear our meeting with our Creator? Do we fear owning up to all of our deeds? We should have no trouble answering these questions if we are truly living according to the Quran and the Sunnah. Allah has created us with a purpose, and there is a greater purpose behind every breath we take, each heartbeat, every happiness and hardship that we endure. How much does our surroundings impact us? It is visible in our actions, our speech, and our worship. Ask yourself, does my circle consist of people who remind me of Allah? Do they remind me to pray? Do they fear Allah? Do they fear the questions of the grave? Do they love doing things that please Allah? Do they protect your iman? Do they correct you if you're wrong, or do they encourage haram? If the answer to these questions make us uneasy, then perhaps we are in need of change. Now we can go to the third slide. We have to know that our actions we conduct on the outside represent our inner selves. Throughout the day, are our intentions, words, and actions sincere, honest, and pure? We're all fighting different struggles, and I pray that all of us make it through the difficult times. Some of us are fighting to keep going, some to hold on to hope, some to believe that better days will come. I don't know what each of us are facing, but I pray you make it through. I pray you find strength to wake up each morning with gratitude and humbleness to carry on, to keep on trusting, to keep holding on. I want to believe that being hopeful is a good sign that Allah is opening doors for us more than we could imagine. Always bear in mind that every calamity is a means to bring us closer to Allah. Here are some things that we should all incorporate in our lives in order to live an honorable and successful life. Do everything with complete sincerity and devotion. Here's Islamic etiquette of speaking in order to build a beautiful character. We should speak with intention. Don't speak without purpose. Whatever we say should reflect our values according to Islam. Pause before speaking. Often we find ourselves rushing to respond. I was always ask yourself, is this necessary and is this kind? Speak good or remain silent. Let your words reflect your iman. The Prophet Muhammad (SAW) said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. Avoid raised voice. You don't need to be loud to be heard. Gentleness is far more powerful. And don't speak from anger. Let your words be softened by the remembrance of Allah. Your words should always be pure, honest, and sincere. Be mindful of the words we say, be mindful of the actions we do. Be mindful that one day we would have to stand in front of our Lord and our body will testify for all the things we did, good or bad. There's an Arab proverb that is a reminder for us. It states that the mouth should have three gatekeepers. Always ask yourself before speaking, is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? There's a quote I got from Brother Riyadh. It says that some scholars state that Allah has placed teeth in front of your tongue and lips in front of your teeth to imprison the tongue. This serves as a metaphor for the importance of deliberation and control over one's speech. It signifies that we need to think before we speak and to use physical barrier of the teeth and lips to prevent harmful words from escaping. I want to leave you guys with some things we should normalize saying with intention of gaining Allah's forgiveness and also bringing us closer to Allah. Keep in mind, if our goal is to be welcome into Jannah, as mentioned in Surah 13, verse 24, peace be upon you for what you patiently endured, and excellent is the final home. So I suggest that we start adapting these sayings into our daily routine. Alhamdulillah whenever good or bad happens. Hasbunallah whenever you feel helpless. Allahumma barik with sincerity each time we see others around you succeeding, but we're stuck. Astaghfirullah whenever you feel the jealousy creeping in. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah whenever life gets hard. And inna lillahi wa inna lillahi raji'un, believing that everything belongs to Allah and that all things will eventually return to Allah. Thank you guys once again for taking time to listen to my presentation.
Nadeem, whenever you're ready, you can start.
Assalamu alaikum. My presentation will be about how words move through different cultures and specifically about loan words. Arabic has influenced many languages, specifically English and Spanish, and they have influenced various regions like science, math, and everyday vocabulary. Loanwords are words that get borrowed from a language with little to no modification and get used in that other language. Words move through a process called language diffusion, in which a language spreads from its origin into other regions, acquiring new speakers and influencing the languages that already exist in those other regions. This is done primarily by trading and migration. And every time a word moves from a region to another, it changes due to various reasons like mispronunciation, identity and cultural reasons, and geographic ones. As you can see here, a loan word like cha and tea can spread from mainland China throughout into the rest of the world, where European countries would come to China, specifically Minnan, a island off the coast of mainland China, and trade tea there. And in Minyan, they'd call tea te. So all of Europe, besides Portugal, because they trade somewhere else, would start calling tea tea. But Arab nations who traded by land would go to mainland China, where they call it cha, and start calling tea chai or cha. So cha and tea are famous examples of loanwords that are used today and spread basically globally. And most loanwords are nouns because they're easy to understand, get a grasp of than other parts of speech. And they're more useful for trading and living. Some Arabic specific loanwords are albatross, chemistry, alcohol, algebra, apricot, arsenal, and many more like Sahara. Many Arabic loanwords start with al because al means the, and they just combined al with the original word, like albatross, originally algatas, was the diver. Algebra is the broken pieces. Admiral, Amir al-Ma, just means commander of the sea. And admiral, they dropped ma, which meant sea. So literally today, admiral just means commander of the. I'm just lost what they're commander of. This is called rebracketing, where an article or prefix or suffix gets put into that new loan word and it gets standardized into that new language. Here are some more examples like spinach, lemon rice, uh, uh, algorithm, cave, all of these. Some Spanish to Arabic loanwords are arroz, rice, coming from arroz, azul, blue, coming from lapis lazuli, cafe or coffee, which comes from Dutch, which comes from Turkish, which comes from Arabic, which originally meant wine. It also it also could be argued that the Arabic word came from the Ethiopian city Kaffa, which coffee was originally discovered. Elixir from Al Iksar, and Naranja or orange, which comes from the Arabic word naranja, derives from the Persian word naranj, deriving from the fruit, and it comes from Sanskrit naranja, which just means orange tree. In conclusion, the Arabic loanwords demonstrate a historical and cultural connection through basically all of the world, and its presence in various languages highlights the significant role of Arabic in knowledge and cultural exchange throughout history. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for having me.
Okay, Brother Nabil, you can start whenever you're ready.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. The gentleman said my name is Nabil. I'm the founder and operator of the Guyana page that some of you may have heard of, most of you may not have because it's not that well known, but it's essentially a Facebook and Instagram platform called Journey Through the Generations. And if you can go to the next slide, in the first few slides, I'm gonna just introduce myself a bit in regard to Guyanese genealogy history. I began around the age of 10, 15 years ago or so, and I started working on the family tree and stuff like that. And I started with the basics, and then I went to Facebook and created so many different groups. And then in 2018, it was just a really rough timeline. Obviously, there's a lot more details that I couldn't put in because of time. But essentially, in 2018 is when I started trying to help others learn about their roots and stuff like that. And then you can go to the next slide. We're at, so about the page, it was a concept that I originally thought of around November. And the idea was to showcase the history and the culture of Guyana and its people because realistically at the time, this was before COVID, and a page like that didn't really exist in the sense that it was only about Guyana, and it didn't have any, like, I tried my best to keep anything like haram or anything like that out of what I portray on the page. And of course, as a side mission, possibly connect with more family members that have not yet met because social media is very vast and diverse. So I started that officially just a few days after COVID, actually, and 5 years later, the Facebook platform has over 7,600 followers, while Instagram has a little over 2,500. And you can go to the next slide. And so these are some topics that are usually discussed. Like it's a range of different subjects, from monuments to geography, historical events. Like that particular picture there, I believe, is from the '64 riots. And then the top right picture is like different life stories of Guyanese people throughout time. That particular picture is actually one of my relatives. At the bottom left, there are different books that you can read to learn about Guyana. More deeper topics like the effect of alcoholism within the community, different parables as this one, when mom and dad family done, like, which means that essentially is that sometimes when the mother passes away, the family tends to split apart. Different parables that you grew up hearing your mom and dad saying. And then the bottom right there, like poetry, like different poems that various Guyanese individuals have written over time. And then so I also kind of went into the YouTube scene a few years ago. I created a video where I went into very deep process of tracing your genealogy as an Indo-Guyanese, based on my years of dealing with the archives and the birth records office in Georgetown and stuff like that. And then that's another video that I kind of went through my personal process. And then the final video is my trip to Guyana that I took last year. And if you like to check it out, the channel name is there. And then you can go to the next one. So this is the main topic, the main reason why I wanted to present, I was hoping to present, and thank you again to Riyadh for giving me this opportunity. So this is a book that I'm in the process of writing, and this is basically like as the title says, a brief explanation. Because the idea is not to go too in depth, but the purpose of it is to give people a jump start in those who are interested in tracing their history. And then you can go to the next one. So obviously the intention behind this is not to create any internal disputes within families themselves, but to provide a solid foundation for the younger generation like myself who are not who don't really know what steps to take and stuff like that. And not really that, but like it provides like a solid set of information, then you kind of have to put in the work to fill in the gaps. And you can go to the next one. And then, so basically what each page would consist of is information regarding the first members of the family, like typically the indentured laborers that were sent from India to Guyana, the arrival information, the spouses of these people, these indentured laborers, their children, and if possible, their grandchildren. Any outstanding remarks or special things the family is known for, like for example, when you think of some families, like coincidentally, Riyadh's ancestor, Mulvi Chand Khan from Forum East Bank, he's known for building one of the first masjids in Guyana. And then when you think of like the Maktoum family, where they have contributed to Guyana in the political atmosphere and stuff like that, and like the Gadraj family, et cetera, et cetera. So like different things that the family is known for would be mentioned in the pages. Obviously, birth dates of the children and grandchildren of the laborers. I understand that's a matter of privacy, and not everybody's comfortable with sharing that. So that's really up to the family if they want to contribute that piece of information or not. But really, the names are the most important, in my opinion. Because, like I said, again, this book is not really going into depth of each family, but it's providing a foundation. The spouses of the indentured labor children, and sometimes they married into other known families. Like obviously, for a lot of you know already that in Guyana there was a lot of intermarrying between one big family to another big family, and then that's how all the families connect up. Like my uncle always says, everybody hook up like squash vine, because everybody's connected somehow in Guyana because of how small it is. Pictures, if possible, of the indentured laborers, or if not available, then of their kids, or even if there's a picture of the house that they lived in Guyana, or even in their immigration pass, something that some kind of imagery of the family would be a nice touch to finish off each page. And you can go to the next slide. So this is what a typical page would look like in a best case scenario situation. Like for example, this is my mother's family. It starts with the indentured laborers, how they came, when they came. It gives them, like an immigration pass. For those of you who don't know, it mentions their arrival details, their father's name, any scars, where they were sent to as an indentured laborer, and things of that nature. And then like you would usually mention, like I mentioned, only the names of like the grandchildren of the indentured laborer, and then at the second, the last paragraph before the pictures, you would kind of see what this particular family was kind of noted for, and that was carpentry. A lot of them went into woodworking and stuff like that. Um, my ancestor had donated the land and for Amashtan Canal number 2, and stuff like that. And then the very bottom is pictures of the children of the indentured labor, or in some cases, people even have the pictures of the indentured labor themselves, which is very rare, but some families do have that. At the bottom right, is the grave of one of the indentured laborers, Badruddin. You can go to the next slide. So naturally, of course, this cannot be successful without first the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, and more important, and of course, the participation of each family, because there's so many different families in Guyana, right? So many different Ali families, Muhammad, Khan, Hassan, you name it, all over Guyana. And I'm appealing to all the community for assistance, because of course it wouldn't make sense to really publish what I know, because I know a little bit of most families, but I don't know enough to the point of that page that I showed you. And as any historical researcher would tell you, time is running out. As no, I'm misworded there, but it's time is of the essence, because the older generation is continuing to pass away one by one by one, and they won't wait for us. So we have to take advantage of the time that we have with them to learn as much as we can, and speak to any of the older relatives and stuff like that, and gain as much information as possible. And I left my phone number, my email. You can always reach me by either one of those two, if you would like to contribute to the book. And you can go to the last slide. I'll close off with this. If you can perhaps support, inshallah, by dropping a follow, either again Instagram or Facebook. Either one is the same name. And I'd really appreciate it. But Jazakallah khairan, Brother Riyadh, for giving me the opportunity to present, and I hope to be hearing from some of you very soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. My presentation is going to be on Muslim NBA players. So there are currently, right now in the NBA, about 8 to 12 players that are Muslim, and some of these include Yusuf Nurkic, for the Trailblazers. He's from Bosnia. Gorgui Dieng for the Timberwolves. He's from Senegal. Kaman Maluak for the Suns. He's from South Sudan. And Mo Bamba for the 76ers, who's from the Ivory Coast. However, in the total history of the NBA, there have been a lot of famous players, some of which you may have heard of. So we're going to start with probably the most famous NBA player that you've probably heard of, who is Muslim, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's known for his height. He was 7'2" and his famous skyhook shot. He played for 20 seasons, most famously for the Los Angeles Lakers, and he won 6 championships. He has 2 Finals MVPs. He was a 19-time NBA All-Star, and he totaled 38,387 points in his career, which was the most amount of points ever scored in the NBA until LeBron James broke the record in, I think, 2022. He embraced Islam in 1968 after reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, and he is the first known Muslim player in the NBA. Next, we have Hakeem Olajuwon, who played 18 seasons, most famously for the Houston Rockets. And he was known for being one of the greatest defensive players of all time. As a matter of fact, he is one of the only players known to have given Shaquille O'Neal trouble offensively. He has 2 championships, 2 Finals MVPs. He's a 12-time NBA All-Star, and he has totaled 26,946 points, which is the 14th of all time in the entire history of the NBA. He was born in Nigeria, and he was raised Muslim in a Muslim family. As a matter of fact, during Ramadan, it was recorded that he actually had better stats during Ramadan while fasting than in any other month during the regular season. and he reads the Quran on planes and before and after his games. Next, we have Dennis Schroeder, who's actually from Germany. He played 12 seasons for a number of teams, including the Miami Heat and the Raptors. He's also played for the German national basketball team. He won the FIBA World Cup in 2023 and was named MVP that year as well. He also won the FIBA Basketball World Cup All Tournament Team Award and the FIBA Olympics All-Star 5 Award. He is a devout Muslim and he prays before every single one of his games and before he goes to sleep. Next, we have Jaylen Brown, who currently has played 9 seasons, all for the Boston Celtics. He has one championship, one Finals MVP. He's a four-time NBA All-Star. Um, and in addition to being a Muslim and an NBA star, he's also extremely intelligent, as he attended Berkeley in California. He converted to Islam in 2021 and has actually performed Umrah and has stated that his faith allows him to play and perform better during his games. And lastly, we have Kyrie Irving, who is probably the most famous current Muslim player. He has played 14 seasons for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets, and currently the Dallas Mavericks. He is known for his amazing ball handling skills. As a matter of fact, he's probably said to have the best ball handling skills in all of the NBA. He has one championship and he was named Rookie of the Year in the 2011-2012 season. He's a 9-time NBA All-Star and he converted to Islam in 2021. Irving acknowledged that his faith guides him, and he has stated that inner peace through he's found inner peace in Islam after converting. So, in conclusion, basketball has provided Muslim Americans with more heroes than any other major sport in America. Even though Muslims have competed professionally in many other sports like football, boxing, and soccer, the number of Muslim basketball stars whose fame put their faith in a positive spotlight is unrivaled. It also goes without mentioning that these players fast during Ramadan, whenever Ramadan falls within an NBA season. These players not only put on all-star performances, but they're doing so while they are fasting. And in almost every Muslim community, there's an obsession with basketball amongst the youth. As a matter of fact, any mosque you go to, you'll probably see a basketball net somewhere outside. That's my presentation. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so my presentation is entitled Fact-Checking Lions. So lions have fascinated humans for centuries, earning the title King of the Jungle and starring in countless movies and documentaries. Yet, despite our obsession with these magnificent big cats, many of us have some seriously wrong ideas about how lions actually live and behave in the wild. From their family dynamics to hunting habits, these misunderstandings have shaped our perception of lions in ways that don't match reality. So let's set the record straight on some of the most widespread lion myths. So, lions don't sleep at night. Well, the common myth, often reinforced by things like the popular song "The Lion Sleeps Tonight," is that lions sleep primarily at night. The truth is, lions are primarily nocturnal or crepuscular, meaning they are most active at night, dawn, and dusk. Therefore, lions might be seen sleeping during the day. It's at night when they are most active, hunting, patrolling their territory, and engaging in other behaviors. Another myth, there is no Lion King. Despite what Disney tries to tell us, prides don't have a Mufasa or a Simba in charge of all other lions or all other African animals for that matter. Rather than a king or a queen, lions live in an egalitarian society without ranking. And not the king of the jungle. So lions are famously acquired the title King of the Jungle. However, the title is misleading as lions don't live in jungles. Their habitats include scrublands, grasslands, savannas, and rocky hills, but not jungles. This is a simple case of lost in translation, maybe a loan word like we heard about earlier. The word jungle has its roots in the Hindi word jungle, which means forest or wasteland, which could easily be applied to a savanna, as a wasteland. So this is something that could be lost in translation, but lions do not live in the jungle. So that is not a correct label to place on these magnificent animals. The next one is a mane doesn't mean a successful male. So lions without male, lions without manes were shown to be able to attract mates, as well as being able to successfully defend the territory against other males. As well, manes don't always mean that it's a male a lion. Male lionesses with manes have been observed in countries like Botswana. So key takeaway here is don't judge a lion by its mane. That doesn't always mean the definitive definition. And then we come to male lions do hunt. There's a common perception of lion's pride is that the female lion do all the hunting. However, emerging evidence suggests that that isn't completely true. The primary role of a lioness is to hunt, whereas the lion guards a territory. But lions do and are able to hunt for themselves. And this last point I have here is lions don't live in dens. You hear the term lion's den. While lions may seek shelter under rocks or in caves, they are not den animals in the way that bears and foxes might be. They prefer open areas for hunting and for living. So now you may be wondering, why am I going on about lions and fact-checking about lions? Well, the main point of my presentation is the importance of fact-checking. Fact-checking is important since less factual content can greatly influence people's opinions. People will make the wrong decisions if they build their actions on the wrong information. And these decisions can lead to unintended results. For instance, posting biased or unfactual content on social media without checking credibility could negatively impact people's opinion of your trustworthiness. Unfactual content could lead to serious consequences, both legal and reputational. It is important to take time to verify the accuracy of any post before sharing it. Also, knowing the potential consequences of sharing inaccurate information is essential. Numerous studies confirm that fact-checking is an effective tool to counter misinformation. Fact checks decrease belief in misinformation while increasing factual accuracy. And we will bring this back now to us being Muslims and the importance of this in Islam. When a fellow believer shares information, we are obliged to have a good opinion of it and of that person. But there is a scope or a range to that good opinion. Trust your fellow human, especially your brother or sister in faith, but don't assume they have checked their sources. Ask them where they got their information from and why they think it is reliable. Be critical together. In the spirit of the critical apparatus of our intellectual tradition, we need to apply an ethical conduct or adab of forwarding and sharing information. And I thought this was something important to mention because these days it's so easy to share information through WhatsApp, Facebook, and other means, and people just hit forward and send it on without verifying the information. And that's how misinformation and stereotypes get promoted and expanded. So please be careful in sharing our information and think twice before you hit that forward button. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Before we get to our final speaker tonight, I'll pass things over to my wife, Sister Camille, who will do the introductions.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you I just wanted to say thank you for all the presentations tonight. It was lovely hearing from everybody. Great presentations. I know I'm a little biased on a few of them because those were my sons, but I do applaud everybody for taking the courage and the time to research these topics and coming and sharing your knowledge. I wanted to take the time to introduce my coworker, Arsalan, who's going to introduce a book that he just read, that he just wrote, and I just read. I actually have a copy right here. And when I was reading the book, I invited Brother Arsalan to come and talk about it. It was very inspirational. As I read through it, I'm sure everybody will have their own interpretations, but it gave me a closer look as to how I can build a personal relationship with Allah. And I know Arsalan will go through that. Arsalan and I are co-workers, and that's where I know him from work. He recently joined one of my teams that I work on, and it's been a pleasure working with him. And Arslan, I don't know if you can see this, but I happen to be sitting behind the 99 names of Allah. So that should be a good segue into your presentation. So thank you, Brother Arslan. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you, Camille. Appreciate it. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone. My name is Arsalan. I'm the author of the book Revealing the Divine. So professionally, my background is in IT, as Camille mentioned, and I have an MBA. So I'm not an Islamic scholar, but I've been deeply privileged to study with and spend time in the company of a number of respected scholars. This blend, I think, of scholarly insight and practical experience is really what uniquely shaped my perspective while writing Revealing the Divine. I lead what you might call a normal life, balancing family, children, demanding career, the many other responsibilities that come with the modern world that we live in. For this reason, my experiences resonate with those who similarly navigate the complexities of contemporary living. So if you're one of those people who has the complexities of modern life, I think that this might resonate with you as well. My goal in writing this book was to make spiritual insights relevant as well as accessible. So touching the hearts and lives of people who juggle the demands of family, work, and daily life. So that's just a little bit about me. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the journey in writing the book. So if you can go to the next slide. So I want to share a deeply personal journey, a journey that spans over 2 decades of my life. It's the story behind this book, Revealing the Divine, a book about the profound beauty and depth and practical application of the 99 names of Allah. So I started writing Revealing the Divine in 2005 and published it just this year in 2025. During that time, I was married, I had kids, I got divorced. I was working full time, getting my MBA on the side. And I was regularly sitting in the company of blessed company and visiting Muslim scholars at the masjid. So it was in those moments, surrounded by that wisdom, that the seed for Revealing the Divine was planted. Amidst the ups and downs of living a full life, finding time to write felt nearly impossible. Ramadan ended up becoming my sanctuary, like my sacred time dedicated to reflection, study, and writing about the beautiful names of Allah. Some years were filled with inspiration and motivation. Others were marked by discouragement and struggle. But always there was a profound realization. Our lives, with their highs and lows, constantly test our faith. But why choose the 99 names of Allah as the subject of my book? The inspiration was born from my experience sitting with scholars and absorbing their profound wisdom. And then one day it hit me. I always wondered about the significance of our actions in the sight of Allah. On the Day of Judgment, amongst the heaviest matters placed on the scale will be our akhlaq, our character and our manners. How we treat our family, our neighbors, and even those who may have wronged us holds immense value in the sight of Allah. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ exemplified the pinnacle of noble character. His companions, inspired deeply by his example, they spread Islam not only through their words, but through their actions, kindness, compassion, humility. But today, centuries later, how can we emulate such an exemplary character? The answer lies in the 99 most beautiful names of Allah. These divine attributes, perfectly reflected in the Prophet ﷺ, provide us with a clear, transformative path. Each name guides us towards embodying qualities that elevate our character and deepen our faith. Now, admittedly, embracing all 99 names can feel overwhelming. So, revealing the divine encourages a gentle, systematic approach, exploring one name at a time and allowing each to profoundly touch our hearts and actions. So, I invite people to join me on this beautiful journey. Together, we can deeply internalize these divine attributes, becoming our best selves, positively impacting our communities, and illuminating our souls and the souls of those around us. I'd like to read the chapter Ar-Rahman, the most compassionate, as a source of hope and guidance in a world filled with war, injustice, growing inequality. In such a world, it's natural to wonder where mercy and compassion have gone. Although Allah is Ar-Rahman, this does not mean that the world will be free of hardship. Much of the suffering we see today, the war, the injustice, the poverty, is a result of human choices and the misuse of the free will that Allah has granted us. His mercy is found not only in the absence of trials, but in the strength, compassion, and guidance He provides us to respond to those trials. These challenges are opportunities for us to reflect divine qualities in our own actions and become instruments of Allah's mercy in a broken world that we have today. So that was just kind of an introduction about me and a little bit about the journey of writing the book and the reason I wrote the book. Wanted to go in, if I have a little bit more time now, and just read one of the chapters on Ar-Rahman, as I mentioned, the compassionate, the beneficent. There is a mercy that pours forth without limit, a compassion that wraps all creation in its embrace. It is a mercy that existed before you were born, that sustains you with every breath, and that holds you close even when you forget it's there. This is Ar-Rahman, the most compassionate, the beneficent, the one whose mercy is boundless and whose love encompasses every living thing. His compassion extends to all, whether they believe or disbelieve, whether they acknowledge Him or turn away. He gives to all from His endless grace and asks nothing in return. From the sacred root Ra-Ha-Mim, the name Ar-Rahman emerges with a depth so rich and so complete, it touches every atom of existence. It is the same root as Rahmah, a word deeply connected to tenderness, mercy, and love. It shares its meaning with Raham, the womb, where life is nurtured and protected, surrounded by warmth and care before it even enters the world. It provides, this is a sign of His mercy, a way that He gives before you can even ask, the way He provides before you even know your need. The sun, the rain, the air you breathe, all of it is from Ar-Rahman. While Ar-Rahim originates from the same Arabic root, Ar-Rahim offers mercy only in response to faith and righteousness. This divine name, second only to Allah in frequency throughout the Quran, stands as a constant reminder of His overflowing love. Ar-Rahman is the one whose grace is not limited by human deeds, whose generosity is not delayed by our shortcomings. Every beat of the heart, every breath in the lungs, every flicker of inspiration or joy, these are gifts flowing ceaselessly from His compassion. As Ibn al-Qayyum beautifully noted, the attribute of Rahman is so intrinsic to Allah that it is inseparable from His very being, a constant outpouring of beneficence to all that exist. Al-Ghazali explains that Ar-Rahman is the name reserved for Allah alone, a mercy that transcends human experience, pointing not only to the worldly comfort, but to the ultimate happiness in the next life. And Maulana Rumi, in his mystical poetry, echoes this truth with soul-stirring clarity. The breath of mercy came, saw you, and left. It gave spiritual life to whoever it wished. This is the nature of Ar-Rahman's mercy. It is breath, it is life, it is a chance to awaken again and again. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave us glimpses of this mercy in the most beautiful ways. He once said, Allah has 100 parts of mercy. Only one has been sent to the world. It is through this one part that creation shows love to one another. The remaining 99 parts are reserved for the Day of Judgment. Bukhari and Muslim. And he said, those who are merciful will be shown mercy by the most merciful. Be merciful to those on earth, and the one above the heavens will have mercy on you. Tirmidhi. He told the companions of a woman amongst prisoners who, upon finding her lost child, embraced him with tears and fed him from her breast. The Prophet ﷺ asked, do you think that she will throw him, her child, into the fire? The companion answered, never. He then said, Allah is more merciful to his slaves than this woman is to her child. Riyadh al-Salihin. This is Ar-Rahman, the one who is infinitely more compassionate than a mother's embrace, whose mercy shields us even from what we deserve, and whose door is never closed, no matter how often we stray. In the Quran, his mercy is exalted over and over. In Surah 7, verse 156, my mercy encompasses all things. In Surah 20, verse 5, the most merciful above the throne established. In Surah 67, verse 19, do you not see the birds above them? None holds them aloft except the most merciful. In Surah 67, verse 29, say, he is the all-merciful. To emulate Ar-Rahman is to strive for a heart that mirrors the divine compassion. It means being gentle to those who harm you, being generous without expecting thanks, showing affection even when it is not returned. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that those who maintain ties of kinship are connected to Ar-Rahman himself. And when we sever those ties, we sever ourselves from his special nearness. To live in his mercy, we must become vessels of mercy. Let your love be boundless. Let your heart ache for others' pain. Let your kindness be the first and last thing people feel when they encounter you. Be the one who heals, who forgives, who uplifts, because the most compassionate has touched your heart with his breath. And his remembrance, his dhikr, transforms you. When you recite Ya Rahman, your heart softens. The heaviness that weighs you down begins to lift. The mischief of those who wish you harm begins to fade. Recite the name Ar-Rahman 100 times after your prayers, and you will find your memory sharp, your awareness keen, and your spirit lighter. You will feel yourself being held in the mercy of the one who never abandons those who turn to him. To walk in the shadow of Ar-Rahman is to live as one of the muhsinun, those who strive for excellence in their faith and character. It is to be one of the muttaqun, those who are mindful of God in every action. When you live with mercy, when you soften your heart towards others, when you guide them towards goodness with love and patience, you are following the path of Ar-Rahman. The world aches for compassion. Be the one who brings it. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for entertaining me reading this chapter of Ar-Rahman from my book, Revealing the Divine.
Thank you very much, Brother Arsalan. Thanks to everyone. Brother Arsalan, please support him buying his book. We got Brother Nabil. Also, he needs some, your input can help him with his book. My sons, Nadeem and Hamza, and my wife, Camille, for doing their parts and helping out tonight. And not lastly, but certainly not least, Sister Narina for also giving us some reminders on these on these other topics. So again, alhamdulillah, inshallah, inshallah, everyone found tonight's class beneficial. I want again thank all of the participants and presenters for putting the work into researching, working on these projects, and putting it and presenting, because public speaking is not an easy thing for everybody. So this is a good forum for everyone to practice that and hone their skills. So I'll join us next week. Our topic's gonna be potential of Muslim youth, and we saw some potential here tonight in some presentations. So I'll just turn things over to Imam Naseeb for any comments that he may have.
Assalamu alaikum. I just want to echo what Brother Riyadh said and really thank all those who presented tonight. It was very inspiring. I'm always excited when I see young people, make an effort to practice the religion and to share it. And we only are young once. And so don't deprive yourself of doing all the great things that you can do. Most of our scholars were within the years 20 and 30 years of age. So use your youth and try to get involved in as many projects as you can so you can, on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, that you could, tell Allah, I did try my best. Don't ever feel that you're inadequate or you're incompetent or you're unqualified to do anything. Just make your intention and make an effort. Allah does not hold us accountable for the results. He holds us accountable for our effort. So I want to congratulate Arsalan and the other brother, that started these projects. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless you all. Hopefully we could see you guys some other time in one of our future sessions as well. Assalamu alaikum.